Housewives on the island, baby. Okay, let me stop. Hey guys, welcome to this week's review of the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Season 1 episode, I'm not too sure, review. So let's get into it. So Cynthia has her little Bailey bowl. It was really fun to watch. I really love the energy and the chemistry with this cast. I really do. I love how they can laugh and have fun together. And you don't always get this with the other franchises. You know, it's like, it's hard to get the chemistry right. It really is. But all these ladies, I feel like they're a good balance. They know how to give us a bit of drama, but they also know how to have fun and laugh. And that's what we as the audience love to see as well. You know, we want levels, you know? Like, I'm really glad that they're not all just fighting the entire time because, well, you know, that Ramona episode when she was just offending everybody, although, yes, it was entertaining, it was draining. It was. So imagine if the whole season was that. Oh my gosh. Right? So this was just a cute scene of them having fun. And so part of, I guess, you know, for the Bailey Bowl, Cynthia had a little competition, and part of one of the competition was twerking. And I'm gonna be nice, but yeah. Never mind with their twerking. It was cute though. It was fun. And I love at the end, well, the competition was down to Melissa and Kenya, and they had to do like a tug of war for the prize, which was like an exclusive 3-night stay somewhere. But I felt like that was a little bit unfair because Kenya is like 6 feet tall and Melissa is what, like 5'3", and you guys are doing tug of war and that's going to determine who wins. I thought that was a setup. If it was me, I'd be like, no, that's not fair. This is a setup. Right? But whatever. Kenya won, and she ended up giving the 3-night stay or whatever to Teresa, which I thought was really nice, right? And it also makes sense because Kenya has a young child, right? I think it was probably a lot for her to kind of go away without Brooklyn just to film this thing for what? 7, 8 days. So for her to kind of go away again, it's just not really. Of course, she could take her baby on vacation. You know, Kenya has the coins to figure things out, but it's just probably not really realistic. And it doesn't seem like she has anybody to really go with besides her daughter. And then she's going to have to bring the daughter's nanny. And it's just like, it's not going to be much of a vacation. So it's better to just give it to somebody who you know is going to use it and going to appreciate it, right? And I love her reasoning for giving it to Teresa because she's in a brand new relationship. So this is just a way for Teresa to get to know her beau a little bit better and let them have their moment and blah, 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 blah. So that whole scene was sweet. So after they do their little games and activity, all the ladies kind of go to, you know, freshen up and whatever. And Ramona, Kyle, and Teresa stay behind, and they start kind of talking about their upbringing a little bit, right? And all the ladies do have, you know, they all lost their parents at that point, right? So they all have that in common. And we hear a little bit about, you know, what they went through, and we hear a little bit more about what Ramona has been through. Now, if you watch Real Housewives of New York, you know that Ramona has talked a little bit about her upbringing before, right? She never really goes into detail. She really just gives us like a general overlay of what happened, right? Like, we know her father was abusive, but this is the first time where we've actually gotten like a somewhat detailed description of like an incident that happened, right? Where she saw her mom's face and she was bloody and she told her to go call the police, and like Ramona was 4 or 5 years old. Like, oh my gosh, that must have been really traumatizing. And I know that Ramona has been through a lot, but when Ramona talks about her upbringing, usually it's in defense of her behavior, right? It's usually like, okay, she pissed somebody off or she said something and she done something, and then she kind of, I don't want to say she uses that because that is a valid reason, but it always, to me, when she brings it up, it would always come off as a deflection, right? So I would hear what she was saying and I would empathize and sympathize, right? But then a part of me felt like, well, you're just using that as an excuse for your behavior, right? To avoid taking responsibility. You know what I mean? But so like this is the first time where she's just, speaking about it, and it's not in defense of anything, right? So it definitely, for me at least, hearing her story, it hits differently this time. Even though I've heard it numerous times for her, like this time it really kind of like, wow, she has really been through a lot. And yes, I haven't been through that, but I think we all can relate, growing up in situations that are not ideal. And then we learn certain lessons, right, in order to survive certain situations. And then we take that into adulthood and it backfires, right? We realize, oh my gosh, things are not working out the way that I want them to work out, right? And it's easy to kind of point the finger at everybody in your life saying, oh, well, they do this, they did that, they did that. But then it comes to a point where you look at yourself and you realize, oh my gosh, I'm repeating a lot of the stuff in my childhood that I didn't like, right? That I didn't like from my parents or guardians or whatever. Me as an adult, I'm repeating the same things towards other people. And I think that's what Ramona is doing, unfortunately. Of course, she's not as cruel as her father, right? Of course not. But I think for her to survive that situation, she kind of, like she said, she had to zone everything out, right? She had to dissociate. To be honest, she had to kind of suppress the side of her that was really bothered by what was going on with her mother and father, right? But she had to suppress that because she was a child. She had no choice. She was, in a sense, trapped in that situation, and there was no result for her. There's nothing she could have done. So all she could do is just to ignore it, right? And I think as an adult, because she is like that, it has made her callous towards people. It has made her not as empathetic. That's why she can say and she can do things and she can appear very self-centered and concerned about herself, because that's what she had to do to survive the situation as a child. She had to be like that. She had to shut people out, right? But, but unfortunately, as an adult, you have to take responsibility for your life, right? And I'm not going to down Ramona too much because she's made a life for herself. She has, right? And she's probably grown in a lot of ways, and she's had a lot of opportunity, right? So it's not like Ramona's life is like a big waste and throw it in the garbage. No, she has accomplished a lot given the situation she has been in. And kudos to Ramona. I'm going to give Ramona some props here, right? But, we can all do a little better. So as I was saying, and I've said before about Ramona, and I'll say this about myself as well. I'll say this about anybody, really and truly. You do have to take responsibility, for your life and the way you treat others and your relationships. If several people are having the same experience of you, right? It's not it's not good enough to say, oh, well, I grew up in this situation and this happened to me, right? Which is valid. But you're an adult now and your parents are long gone. So you have to look inside yourself and acknowledge the parts of you that are doing things to hurt people, which Ramona does see, right? And it's going to be a step-by-step process. It's not going to magically, you're going to be somebody else. You are going to be who you are. But you have to make another choice in that moment. You have to make another decision to not do things, to continually push people away. It sucks. It does, but you're going to have to take that risk. And I love that Kyle brought it up to her, like when they were, last episode, when they had the dinner with John, and we know that Ramona has a crush on John, right? And Kenya, to get back at her, was kind of throwing Luann at John, like, oh, you should go flirt with John and da, right? And Kyle was like, I was watching you, Ramona, and I could tell that it bugged you, but you didn't say anything. You didn't react. You kind of just zoned it out, right? And they also were like, Teresa as well was like, you should talk to Kenya, right? And you guys should have a moment. And you should also tell Kenya that when you did that hurt me, right? But Ramona was like, oh, I don't want to do it, which I can understand why Ramona wouldn't want to bring that up, because we know with these housewives, things can explode and turn into an argument, especially with Kenya and Ramona, right? So I can understand, like, her not wanting to bring up a point when she was vulnerable, right? Or when she was hurt, because she doesn't want things to exasperate or get worse, right? But like Kyle said, I mean, I guess not everybody's gonna like you, but all you could do is be authentic to what you're feeling. You know what I mean? And Ramona also did talk about how she was kind of disappointed or sad because she wanted to get to know Kenya, right? And when she was talking about it, for me, I don't know. This is the first time where Ramona has got teary-eyed. I mean, she was wearing sunglasses, to be honest, so I don't even know if she was crying or not. I don't know if she actually cried, but she was getting choked up. And this is the first, okay, I'm exaggerating, maybe not the first time, but one of the few times where I've seen Ramona get choked up and I felt like it was actually genuine. I don't know. Like, usually with her, when she cries, I don't know, it doesn't register with me for some reason. I'm not saying it isn't authentic, but usually I'm not buying it, because when she does sort of do that, is, like I said, it's usually to excuse or deflect for her bad behavior, right? So maybe that's why I don't connect with it, but this is like probably one of the few times when she was talking about it where she actually got choked up, and it seemed genuine to me. And even when she was talking about her parents, she didn't get choked up, but when she was talking about Kenya, she did, right? Because she was like, Kenya, she has, as we all know, doesn't have a relationship with her mother, and I don't have a relationship with my father, and I guess maybe it's a bit easier to see the impact of that in somebody else than with yourself, because with yourself, you're kind of used to it. That's your story. So you've cried about it numerous times or whatever. But I guess when she made that connection, like, okay, Kenya, though they don't have similar upbringings, of course, they are very different, but she can relate to not having the most ideal parents. And that's true. And it's funny how, now, I don't think Kenya is like Ramona and vice versa, but they do have similarities. Both of them are very tough, and both of them are very blunt and say it how it is kind of people, right? So that could definitely be a result of when you don't have, as a kid, if you don't have people in your life that you feel like will defend you or stick up for you or whatever, some of the ways in which you cope with that is to be strong and to always be be prepared for battle and defensive and da. So it is sadly what it is, at the end of the day. But to be fair, I never really saw them getting along from jump anyways, if well, one thing I do want to address, I think it's a little bit unfair for Ramona to kind of say that Kenya reminds her of her relationship with her father, especially when Ramona's speaking of her father and how abusive and terrible he was. Kenya is a lot of things. Kenya is not perfect, but I think that's really unfair to kind of overlay that, on Kenya and make that comparison to Kenya. I think that Ramona is projecting, her experience onto Kenya and putting 20 on 10. To be honest, putting 1,000 on 10 with that one, I think that was really unfair. And it's like just when you want to give Ramona a bit of grace, in her confessionals, Ramona, she's talking about Kenya, right? But Ramona's not acknowledging how the way she spoke to Kenya was rude and how the way, oh my gosh. Let me catch my breath. But yeah, Ramona hasn't really acknowledged, in the confessionals anyway, she didn't really acknowledge the ways in which she was disrespectful herself. So it's like, I don't know with her, I'm just getting mixed messages, right? I think Ramona kind of just wants... I'm trying to be nice, but Ramona's not nice, so I'm just going to say it. I feel like a lot of the times Ramona just wants to be the victim, but she doesn't want to actually change her behavior. She always has an excuse for everything she does, which is sad because, I'm rooting for Ramona. I am. She is a likable person, dare I say it, but I just wish she was a little bit more self-aware. She needs to start paying attention. So let's move forward with Cynthia and Kenya. Oh my gosh, this is really disappointing. So, there has been tension between the both of them, right? And Cynthia felt some kind of way. So Cynthia goes to Kenya in order to have a conversation about it, right? Because she felt that maybe Kenya sort of planted seeds to kind of make the other girls not really vibe with her or whatever, or that Kenya really didn't have her back within the group, right? And so when Cynthia goes to Kenya, Kenya completely just shuts her down. Like, you could see the look on Kenya's face like, oh, really, Cynthia, really? She's like, I do not have time for this. And completely just shut the poor lady down. And I don't know, Cynthia left that room and you could tell she felt so dejected, she was heartbroken by the way she left that room. And I don't know, you just kind of felt in that moment once Kenya left that room, once Cynthia left that room, she was over it. She was over the friendship with Kenya, right? And it's really, really sad because I felt like, why can't Kenya just have a conversation? I understand that you may not agree with Cynthia and how she feels, but her feelings are valid. They are. You're her friend. You should at least listen to what she has to say, right? And if Cynthia felt like, okay, you didn't have her back, you could have explained to her, well, okay, I may have made some comments here and there, but that was just my personal opinion. I didn't realize it hurt you so bad, and there were other times I stood up for you, and right? They could have had their little back and forth, right? And then, they could have said what they had to say and came together at the end with a better understanding of each other, right? Just like Kenya and Ramona did. Did that conversation go smoothly with Kenya and Ramona? And let's talk about that real quick, and then I'm going to swing back to Cynthia and Kenya, right? So later on, they do go for dinner, right? It's their last night. And Ramona pulls Kenya aside to talk to her about everything that went down and to... I don't really think Ramona apologized. Did she? I don't know. I don't think she was really apologizing. I think she was just more so expressing regrets on how their relationship went down, right? And of course, Ramona was still being Ramona. She still didn't take responsibility. By the end of the trip, when they had their little confessionals, the producers asked Ramona, well, what do you learn? And she was like, I don't know, lessons. And it's like, oh my gosh, Ramona. Just when you think, okay, maybe she's starting to get it, she then puts up the wall again. And Kenya called her out in that moment in her confessionals, though, not to her face, which I do kind of respect because that could have just easily went left, right? But like, Ramona just wants to be the victim in the situation. She just wants to be like, oh, well, that's just how it is and how I was raised and I get that, but you have to make the decision to change. You do. You know what I mean? And like, you do have to realize the way that you hurt people. It's not just people hurting you. You're hurting people as well. You're pushing people away as well. And you have to acknowledge that. But of course, in Ramona fashion, she doesn't. And whatever, I'm done talking about her, right? But even despite that, Ramona, okay, she didn't get all the words right, but you felt like she genuinely wanted to be in a better place with Kenya. And I think that's what Kenya picked up on. So they had like a sweet moment where, they talked about their upbringing and their situation. And they ended that conversation with a hug. And it was really, really sweet. And I loved seeing that, because Kenya could have easily been like, okay, whatever, Ramona, and walked away. But she really was like, you know what? I can see that Ramona really wants love. She wants to be accepted. So instead of, giving her the hand, I'm going to give her a hug. I'm going to give her the thing that she really wants, but is too afraid to ask, So that was a nice moment. And it's just, it made me feel really sad for Cynthia, right? Because it's like, you're willing to have this moment with someone that you don't know, someone that has insulted you numerous times. You're willing to work that out with her. But your best friend, okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but your good friend, you're not willing to have that conversation. And Cynthia didn't come in the room all raw, like, Kenya, I'm mad at you. How could you do that? She didn't come like that. She came with very peaceful energy, right? And it's like, it's just really sad that Kenya is willing to have that conversation with Ramona, but had no patience with Cynthia. And Cynthia is your friend. This should be the person you should have the most patience with. The most. And listen, I love to see them together. I truly do, right? But I can understand if the friendship doesn't work. I just feel like on their franchise, it's like a dysfunctional family, right? And everybody has their role in the dysfunction. And I think plucking the both of them out of that dysfunction and putting them in a new dysfunctional family, right? But in a new situation, the roles changed, right? And I feel like maybe part of the reason that they had a friendship in the first place and they were able to bond was because of the roles that they played. So if you put them in a new situation and those roles are no longer applicable in this dynamic, then how does the friendship work and move forward? And I think it definitely revealed, especially to Cynthia, that maybe their friendship wasn't as strong, right? Because I said in my last review, Kenya is usually the villain. Cynthia is usually the good girl or the sidekick, right? And you go into this new situation where Kenya's not the villain anymore. Kenya actually is well liked by all the ladies. And so is Cynthia, right? She may have problems with one or two of the women, but it's not like everybody doesn't like her or anything. But I don't know. I guess Cynthia, I don't know. Like I said before, I guess it really sort of weighs heavy on Cynthia when she's not liked by everybody. That's how I feel. And I think that, I don't know, maybe she's used to relating to Kenya when nobody likes Kenya, right? And Kenya kind of is giving her all the attention, right? Not because that's what Kenya really wants to do, but because, I mean, Kenya kind of has no choice because her only good friend within the group is Cynthia. And even her and Candy have started to become close, but that hasn't always been the case, right? So, of course, Kenya is going to give all her attention to Cynthia because who else is she going to give her attention to? So maybe it is a little bit of Cynthia kind of maybe feeling a little bit uneasy about, maybe, I think that Kenya let me rewind. I think Cynthia within the group, for whatever reason, I think it has more to do with her own personal insecurities. Like I said, around this time, she probably found out that she wasn't coming back to Atlanta, right? So I think Cynthia in general felt really insecure. And then she didn't have Kenya there giving her all that attention. Kenya was like making new friends, right? So I think that bugged Cynthia even more. You know what I mean? But I do think that even on Atlanta, Kenya does do little things to undermine Cynthia. I don't think that Kenya really respects Cynthia like that. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't, right? So I don't know. It's like I can't point to one person clearly and be like, you're at fault or you're at fault. I just think that they're both realizing that maybe the friendship, it isn't what they thought it was. And the only reason why the friendship or bond was there was because they were in a dysfunctional situation. And now that Cynthia is no longer in that situation anymore, I don't really know how it's going to work because I don't think Kenya really respects her. And it showed, because if you really respected your friend and your feelings, even if you disagree, I'm not saying that Cynthia is right. I'm not saying that Cynthia is not exaggerating, because yes, did Kenya make certain points against Cynthia in front of the other ladies? Yes, right? But I don't think just because someone is your friend, you always have to agree with them or you always have to see eye to eye in, every little thing that they do, right? But I get it. I get it, right? I get it why Cynthia would feel some type of way, but I feel like the ladies, I don't think Kenya added to that, right? I think Melissa wasn't really feeling Cynthia from the beginning because she thought Cynthia was too uptight and too serious. Same thing with Kyle. It didn't really have anything to do with Kenya. Yes, did Kenya, sprinkle a little salt on that wound, right? Did she make things... I don't think she made things worse, to be honest. She just added a little salt, she added a little spice, but they weren't feeling Cynthia from jump because of Cynthia. And Cynthia's actions, they just didn't like her. And that's okay. So I think it's a little bit unfair for Cynthia to kind of put that on Kenya, like Kenya is the one that turned everybody against me, or she may have said something to Melissa to make her not like me. I was actually kind of surprised that Cynthia and Melissa had some sort of a relationship before the show. So I don't know what happened, but I don't think that's on Kenya, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? So I see both sides. It's complex. But ultimately I'm going to have to put this on Kenya because, like I said, it's not a black or white situation. It's not a right or wrong. But if it's your friend, you have the conversation. So both of you guys can come together and reach an understanding, right? And yeah, they could have had a little rah-rah moment. But just like
Ramona and Kenya were able at the end of the day to come together and hug and be like, okay, let's move on. That could have easily happened with Cynthia. Because, Cynthia's not that girl anyways. Cynthia's not, you could tell Cynthia didn't really want to carry things on. She just wanted to address it. And that's it. And I'm just really disappointed in that. I really am. I'm really disappointed on how that went down. I'm really disappointed in Kenya. Okay, let's end on a positive note. So they have their last supper, and Luann surprises them with, money can buy you clothes. Oh yeah, money can. Okay, let me stop. You get the idea. Luann, she puts on a little performance. She looked absolutely gorgeous. I loved the hair, the makeup, and her dress, and her little money guns. And it was just such a sweet and amazing way to end the series. Well, not the series, because we are definitely getting another damn season. We better. Right? So it was just a great way to end the season with all the ladies dancing and having a good time. It was just, I really, really, really loved. I loved the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. I wish it was a little bit longer, but I understand. It's better that they leave a bit early than overstay their welcome. But I can tell you this: I cannot wait for the next group of ladies. I cannot. This is awesome. This was awesome. We got to see different sides of our favorite, or maybe not so favorite housewives. So, one of the things they did was they went around the table. I believe it was Kyle asked, like, any of the ladies that maybe initially you had a certain impression of them, but then you got to know them and you feel differently. I'm going to answer that question. 2 housewives that I look at them differently now and actually really walk away liking them a lot more. And that is Kyle and Teresa. Especially Teresa. I'm actually really, really surprised on like how much I like Teresa now. I really like Teresa. She was so sweet. Right? And you could definitely tell she definitely puts on as the villain for her franchise. She definitely does. And I've heard that before, like, oh, it's an act and da-da-da-da, but I don't know. I wasn't really buying it. And I guess Teresa is a really good actress because I've seen another side of her. And, okay, I want to say I'm a fan because I don't think I'm really a fan of any of these ladies, but what the hell? I'm a fan of Teresa and I'm a fan of Kyle now. I liked Kyle before, somewhat, right? But I think on this show, I actually got to see how fun and funny she is. She actually really is funny. And did she bring the drama? No, but I think she is a great asset to an ensemble cast, right? She really knows how to get everybody having a good time, and yeah. So I really walked away with an appreciation of all the ladies, just in terms of their professionalism and what they do bring to their franchise. Like, these ladies are truly, truly all-stars. So kudos to them. Round of applause. I really enjoyed this. I can't wait for more. Yay. Did I miss anything? Nah, I think that's everything. See ya, guys.